When life presses on your spirit so intensely that you start to believe your prayers are too small for the weight of your troubles. But I want you to understand this with every part of your being, that what God has designed for you is not shaped by your pain, your history, or your present battles. It is greater than what you asked for, greater than what you ever dared to envision, greater than anything your words can contain. Many walk through life assuming their prayers reach far, but God's purposes extend far beyond the boundaries of human language, and the very thing you believed was too vast for you is often what God has already reserved in your name. When God prepares something, He does not think in limited terms, nor does He respond according to what you think you merit. He answers according to His intention, and His intention is always broader, deeper, higher, and stronger than anything your mind can construct. Some of you have prayed through tears, asking God to repair one area of your life while He is preparing to reshape the entire landscape of your destiny. You ask for healing in one place while God is arranging restoration in every place. You sought a breakthrough, but God is crafting a complete shift. You asked for a single open door, but God is carving out an unexpected pathway. God never confines His response to the size of your request. He answers according to the depth of His wisdom, His majesty, and His design for your life. And what He has prepared is not only greater than your petition, but greater than your understanding of what a blessing truly is. When God moves, He does not merely touch the surface. He reaches into the deepest roots, strengthens the foundation, and transforms what you cannot see, so that when the blessing rises, it rises with power. There are seasons when God grows quiet, not because He has forgotten you, but because He is operating behind the scenes on something that demands stillness. You have prayed and sensed nothing, wept and witnessed nothing, waited and felt nothing shift. But hear this: silence is not absence, delay is not rejection, and waiting is not neglect. When God is preparing something monumental, He often surrounds it in a season of calm, so the noise of your worry does not distract from the work He is completing. God does not rush greatness or accelerate transformation. He allows pressure to refine you, waiting to mature you, and time to fortify you, because what He is planning is too precious for you to receive. While unfocused, weakened, or unready. Some of you have been asking God to remove the struggle, but what if the struggle has been shaping you for the blessing? What if the unanswered prayer has been strengthening your faith for what God is about to release? What if the heartbreak has been building a depth within you that only those who walk closely with God ever truly comprehend? Many times what feels like delay is actually divine alignment. You prayed for something, but God saw beyond your request. You asked for provision, yet God recognized the character that needed shaping before the blessing could arrive. You sought elevation, but God understood the discipline required before promotion could sustain you. You desired a relationship, but God saw the healing necessary before love could rest in its rightful place. God sees the layers of your life that remain hidden to you, and He responds not according to your impatience, but according to His flawless wisdom. Which is why what He prepares is always greater, not occasionally, but consistently. God is never a God of small outcomes. When He chooses to shift something in your life, He does not merely rearrange pieces. He rebuilds. He restores with overflow. He lifts you in ways that astonish those who watch. God does not bless you according to the assumptions of others, but according to the purpose He planted within you long before you understood who you were becoming. Some people look at you now and believe they can read your story, measuring your potential by your past, your family, your failures, your limits, or your setbacks, yet they cannot see what God sees. They cannot perceive what God is preparing. They cannot hear the doors God is getting ready to open. They cannot sense the shift God is setting into motion. What God has arranged reaches so far beyond human expectation that no one around you can predict it. There are people who walked away thinking they left you behind, who saw your struggle and assumed your story was over, who observed a painful chapter and believed it was the entire book, but they overlooked one truth. God was still writing, still designing, still preparing something you had not prayed courageously enough to ask for. Some of your greatest blessings will appear after others have departed, because God does His strongest work in quiet spaces where human approval cannot interfere. He removes the wrong voices so His plan can rise without resistance. And when it rises with a force that silences the doubts of everyone who underestimated what God was cultivating in you. I want you to reflect for a moment on the prayers you whispered in desperation, the times you cried out unsure of how you would survive, recover, or take another step, the moments when the weight you carried felt impossible to endure. Now consider this, the very God who sustained you in those seasons is the same God preparing something far beyond what your tears ever requested. You cried for survival, but God designed triumph. You cried for strength, but God prepared transformation. You asked for relief, but God arranged renewal. You prayed for peace, but God fashioned purpose. You prayed for a moment of clarity, but God planned a lifetime of growth. Many people make the mistake of assuming that God gives only in proportion to what you request. But God is not confined by your vocabulary, nor limited by your imagination, nor restrained by your past. God responds to prayer with abundance. And when He gives in completeness. When He restores with increase. When He opens a door, He opens it in a way that makes it undeniable that no human hand could have orchestrated it. When God prepares a blessing, it is never something you must chase. It is something that will find you at the appointed moment, arriving with such certainty that you will say, only God could have done this. Some of you have prayed for a minor adjustment when God has destined you for a total transformation. You prayed for a small shift because you didn't believe you deserved anything greater. But hear this. God does not design blessings based on your sense of worthiness, but on His goodness. You may have walked through seasons where you felt insignificant, unnoticed, forgotten, or ignored. Yet God has counted every step, witnessed every tear, and heard every whispered prayer. And He is preparing something that will cause every season of pain to produce purpose. Often the path to what God has prepared looks nothing like the blessing itself. It may appear rough, confusing, or unfair, but remember that God is a master at turning what seems broken into something remarkable. There are stories in your past you thought were finished, but God is about to bring them full circle. There are experiences you thought were wasted, but God will turn them into platforms for your strength. There are losses you believed defined you, but God will use them to refine you. You may not understand the journey now, but one day you will look back and declare, God was preparing something far greater than anything I had the courage to ask for. When God prepares something, it is never hurried, it is intentional and carefully designed. God will not place you in positions you are not yet prepared to carry, which is why certain doors have remained shut. You prayed for them to open. But God was shielding you from a blessing that would have been too heavy before its proper time. God will never put you in a room your character cannot handle, never give you influence your heart is not ready for, never elevate you into a season your spirit has not been strengthened to withstand. Waiting is not punishment, it is preparation. And the longer the preparation, the greater the unveiling. Some people wonder why God leads them through deep valleys before guiding them to high mountains. But valleys build what mountaintops reveal. Valleys cultivate humility. Valleys expand faith. Valleys strip away pride. Valleys sharpen vision. Valleys strengthen discipline. Valleys anchor your soul for the blessing that is on its way. If God gave you the mountain without the valley, you would never grasp the worth of the height. You would not understand the protection woven into His timing, nor recognize how profoundly He was shaping you in seasons where you assumed nothing was changing. The valley is not evidence that God has left you. It is confirmation that He is preparing something significant. There are people listening right now who've been praying for a breakthrough, yet quietly wondering if God has overlooked them. But hear this, God forgets nothing, He overlooks no one, and He is neither blind to your struggle nor deaf to your cry. He is preparing something greater than your prayer because He sees what you cannot, the connections He will bring into your life, the opportunities not yet revealed, the strength you have not yet discovered, and the purpose that will emerge in you once you walk through this season. God is arranging a series of events that will unfold at the exact moment appointed, not a breath too early and not a breath too late. Have you noticed that when you look back over your life, the most defining blessings were the ones you never planned, the opportunities that appeared from nowhere, the breakthroughs you never anticipated, the people you met by chance, the moments where everything aligned without explanation that is the signature of God, the undeniable proof that He prepares blessings far beyond your comprehension. You did not pray for many of the things that shaped you, yet God provided them. So what makes you think He is finished? What makes you think the next blessing is not already forming? What makes you think your greatest chapter is not the one God is crafting right now? In this very moment, God is preparing something that will not only answer your prayer but surpass it. Some of you prayed for a small opportunity, yet God is preparing a destiny shift. You prayed for a moment of favor, yet God is preparing a season of unstoppable grace. You prayed for a peaceful day, yet God is preparing a peaceful life. You prayed for a clearer path, yet God is preparing a purpose that will transform the way you see yourself forever. God does not give according to the volume of your voice, but according to the magnitude of His plan. And hear this, when the blessing arrives, it will not look delicate, it will not look unsure, and it will not resemble something born from human strength. It will come with clarity, with authority, and with the unmistakable imprint of God. You will not have to force it, explain it, justify it, or defend it. What God prepares speaks for itself. It carries a presence that quiets doubt, strengthens conviction, and bears a weight that silences every voice that once claimed it would never happen. Some of you prayed for closure, and God is preparing a new beginning. You prayed for strength, and God is shaping a miracle. You prayed for a chance, and God is forming a calling. You prayed for a sign, and God is arranging a shift. You prayed for release, and God is crafting elevation. You prayed for comfort, and God is designing transformation. You prayed for a blessing, and God is preparing abundance. You prayed for direction, and God is unfolding a purpose. Your prayer touched the earth, but God's plan reaches into eternity. And the moment you truly grasp that His preparation exceeds your request, everything in your spirit begins to shift. You stop offering small prayers. You stop expecting limited outcomes. You stop imagining your greatest days are behind you. You stop believing your value is defined by your failures. You stop assuming your future is confined by your present. Because when God prepares something for you, it is shaped with intention, built with precision, delivered with divine timing, and wrapped in a wisdom only God holds. God is preparing a blessing assigned to your name, not another person's name, not someone more skilled, not someone more connected, not someone more confident, but your name, because God does not create blessings based on popularity or status. He prepares them according to purpose. And when God calls you into a purpose, no human hand can block, delay, or cancel what He has already set in motion. Keep standing, keep believing, keep trusting, keep praying, because what God has arranged is larger than what you asked for, stronger than what you expected, and nearer than you realize. There comes a point in every soul's journey when the weight of waiting begins to test the depth of belief. When you look at your life and wonder why the pieces haven't aligned, why the prayers whispered with trembling hands haven't yet unfolded. But hear this, God is never slow, never late. His timing is exact, down to the breath. And what you interpret as delay is often the careful construction of a blessing meant to last, not fade. If God gave you everything the instant you asked, You would never learn the endurance needed to carry the blessing once it arrives. You would never gain the wisdom forged in seasons that sharpen your heart. You would never discover the depth of God's care as He forms what you will one day hold. God is not simply preparing a blessing, He is preparing you for the blessing. Some of you have cried out asking for a chance, a door, an answer. But God is shaping an opportunity that requires you to be stronger than you were when you first prayed. The blessing coming your way is not fragile, not temporary, not